Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you a review of the SADDLEMEN TS3200 Sport Tail Bag. Now I took this bag on a 8-day, 3,200 mile trip from here, Colorado Springs, out to California. Rode around for a couple of days in the San Francisco Bay Area and then back through Nevada and Utah and then eventually back home to here in Colorado Springs. So I'm going to tell you everything I like and don't like about this bag after living with it for 8 days, 3,200 miles on this ZX-10R. So one of the features I really liked is this side piece expands. So we've got a zipper right here, and if it was zipped up, it would look something like this. And you can unzip it all the way to the other side, and this expands out and really increases your storage capacity quite dramatically. Another one of my favorite features is this thing's got zippers and pockets everywhere. So for example, right here, we've got a little net pocket. You could put papers or something in there. I don't know what, but you could put something in there. Got a little Velcro pouch right here, and you got another little net to hold things. You could probably put like a soda, a bottle of water or something in there. You've got another zipper here. You could store, I actually stored receipts and paperwork in there, to be honest. There's another zipper back here. There's more up front. This thing is just, it's got no shortage of little storage hidden areas all over it on both sides. And there's a couple on the inside of the bag as well. So this is how I mounted the tail bag to the tail section of my ZX-10R. I don't know if it really matters where you start, but you have 4 D-rings. And I will say that I think the stitching that holds the D-rings to the bag is pretty stiff and solid. I wouldn't worry too much about the stitching tearing or anything like that. Again, I went 3,200 miles with this setup and never had a problem with any of these D-rings. So you got 2 in the rear, you've got 2 in the front. I used some rope you can get at a local hardware store. I knotted up, started on the left front. I went across to the right rear and then across to the left rear, and then back to the front, right front, and then lastly I came across back to where I started, the left front. And as I loop through each one of these D-rings, I pull it nice and tight. You can see how much it's compressing right there. And actually I want to go this way and then get that one tight, and then you can tighten up this D-ring and just kind of work your way through all of the rings until you get all of the slack out of the rope. And once I did that, this setup worked pretty good. I never had a problem with the bag shifting side to side on any kind of permanent basis. And I was very careful to make sure I packed my tools and parts and different things that I brought, basically all the heavy stuff that I brought with me. I made sure to pack it nice and even so there wasn't an excess amount of weight on one side or the other. And I think that really helps a lot. So in addition to the metal D-rings and the crisscross pattern with the rope underneath the tail section, there are 6 straps. There's 4 here, 2 are still on the back. I'll show you those in a second. And then this one right here is actually a shoulder strap, so you can kind of carry the bag like a duffel bag over your shoulder. So to help with preventing the bag from sliding forwards or backwards under acceleration or heavy braking, you can take these extra straps. There are plastic D-rings on the front and there's 2 on the back. And for example, to prevent the bag from sliding backwards under heavy acceleration, I take the strap and I loop it through the passenger peg mount, and then you can just take the excess here and wrap it around the strap or the passenger peg here, or sometimes I would just stuff it underneath the tail bag. But this will keep the bag from sliding off the back as you accelerate really, really hard, because that's what you do on a crotch rocket. Now, I was unable to find a good mounting location to use 2 straps on the back to keep the bag from sliding forward under heavy braking, because again, that's what you do on a crotch rocket. You brake hard, you accelerate hard. Now, if you have a really strong tail mount for your turn signals, license plate, you might be able to use that. I don't. Mine's pretty minimal. There's really nothing to hook onto. The turn signals you know, the way they mount, it's not strong. It's mostly just plastic. So I didn't run with any straps on the back, and it wasn't that big of a problem for me. Initially, I didn't have as good of a system with the rope and the metal D-rings underneath the tail section here, and the bag would slide forward a little bit more than I liked. But once I got better with this, and I didn't try and slam on the brakes and late brake into every section of road where I needed to brake, I didn't really have much of a problem with the bag sliding forward. At least it wasn't enough of a problem where it bothered me that much. So you can run without the rear straps to keep the bag moving forward. But if you can find a good place to strap those on, then that's even better. All right, so the last thing I'm going to show you that I liked about the bag, and then we'll get into what I didn't like, are these little plastic D-rings on the top of the bag. There's 3 here on the back, and there's 3 more on the front. And the first couple of days, I took a backpack with me. The first couple of days of the trip, I wore the backpack. But I think it was day 3, I really got tired of the backpack because between the tail bag and the backpack, I didn't get a lot of forward and back movement. I just didn't have a lot of room. And so I did bring a bunch of bungee cords with me. And what I did was I took the backpack and I placed it on top, used these D-rings to secure my backpack on top of the tail bag. I also brought a little stool with me that was like a little foldable stool. Man, it was so happy I brought that with me. And that really made the ride more enjoyable. And I went the rest of the trip with that setup. Never had a problem, except for this one issue on this one day, day 1. That was not fun. That could have ended my trip right there and then. But there you go. So now let's jump to something I don't like about this bag. So one of my complaints about the bag is it doesn't really have any rigidity. There's no kind of structure inside of the bag. And right now I have pretty much nothing in it, and it just kind of sags down, you know, just nothing that holds it up. And it's kind of like a duffel bag, you know, it kind of conforms to how you pack it. And that can be good or that can be bad. But that's really, I think, the only complaint I have about the bag. Now there's another model. This is the TS3200S sport tail bag. They have a 3200 DE, which they dub as the cruiser tail bag. And it's the same concept. It straddles over your passenger seat with 2 sides that hang down like so. But the main difference being it has rigidity, it has a structure. So regardless of whether you pack the bag full or not, the bag kind of maintains its shape and form. So I think that's gonna about cover it for my opinions and review of the tail bag. Again, I rode this bike with this bag for 8 days, 3,200 miles, and I would totally use the bag again. I don't really have a lot of complaints. It works pretty well. And I think it's hard to make a product that is, you know, somewhat generic and have it work great across multiple manufacturers and multiple models within each manufacturer. That's difficult to do, and I think they did a decent job with this bag. I still might upgrade to that deluxe model with the, you know, sturdy structure kind of frame, so it's not so duffel baggy-ish. Is that a word? I think I just made up a word. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It worked well. And I like the fact that I can take it off, even though it's a little bit of a chore to put on and take off every morning and evening if you're constantly going to a new place. But if you get to somewhere where you're going to stick around for a day or two and see the sights, it's nice that you can take this off and there's no remnants of like mounting hardware for like a hard case. You take it off and it's just like your bike is at home when you're just riding locally, and that's a nice feature to have. So with that, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, because it's free. And hit that notification bell if you really care the next time I upload a video. So that's it, man. Have a good one, guys. Keep the rubber side down. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. Shit. Oh. Dang it. Oh. That sucks.